Zendaya's transformation into a cultural powerhouse did not happen by accident. It is the result of intentionality, resilience, and a deep understanding of the influence she wields. In 2025, she is more than just a face on a billboard or a name on a marquee. She has become a multi-dimensional force who navigates fame with a rare combination of grace and strategic vision. Her every move is studied and emulated, not just because of her aesthetic appeal, but because she represents a new model for celebrity, one rooted in authenticity, activism, and artistic excellence. Her rise has not simply been about personal success. It has symbolized a shift in Hollywood's narrative structures where inclusivity and innovation are no longer optional, but expected. Zendaya embodies this shift not as a passive participant, but as an active architect of the new entertainment order. In the years following her breakout Disney years, Zendaya was methodical about crafting a career that prioritized depth over flash. Her work in Euphoria was a seismic moment in television, not only for its emotional rawness, but for its unflinching portrayal of youth struggling with addiction, trauma, and identity. Her ability to channel vulnerability into performance demonstrated a maturity far beyond her years and earned her critical acclaim. It was a role that many shied away from, but Zendaya embraced it, understanding its potential to open up necessary conversations. Likewise, her presence in Dune was more than a sci-fi casting choice. It signified her ability to move within different cinematic worlds with authority. Even in projects where her screen time was initially limited, her presence was so impactful that it reshaped audience expectations and influenced how the story unfolded in future installments. Off-screen, her efforts are even more nuanced and far-reaching. Zendaya's production company has emerged as a formidable player in the entertainment landscape, not only creating content but cultivating a culture of representation behind the scenes. She is one of the rare young stars who negotiates her contracts, with creative control in mind, ensuring that the teams she works with are inclusive and values-driven. She understands that true change in Hollywood is systemic, and she is pushing to alter the very framework through which stories are selected, produced, and distributed. Through mentorship programs, collaborative development deals, and intentional hiring practices, Zendaya is laying the groundwork for a sustainable, equitable future in entertainment. She regularly meets with emerging writers, directors, and actors, especially those from historically marginalized communities, to uplift fresh perspectives and challenge conventional storytelling methods. Furthermore, her fashion choices, often dissected by global media, are never just about style. They are about message. Each red carpet appearance becomes a statement, whether she is paying tribute to Black cultural icons, championing sustainable fashion, or challenging outdated beauty norms. She collaborates closely with her creative team, including longtime stylist Law Roach, to ensure that her aesthetic is aligned with her values. This fusion of fashion and advocacy reinforces the idea that every public moment can be used to promote dialogue and challenge perceptions. In doing so, she has elevated the role of the modern celebrity into that of a curator of culture and conscience. In the social and political arenas, Zendaya is equally unflinching. She is vocal about racial justice, mental health awareness, and gender equity, often using her expansive social media presence not to center herself, but to highlight causes and people who are driving meaningful change. Unlike performative activism, Zendaya's advocacy is deeply embedded in her brand. Her partnerships with nonprofits, her speaking engagements, and her behind-the-scenes work with community leaders reflect a long-term commitment to using fame as a tool for collective empowerment rather than personal enrichment. In 2025, she is no longer just participating in the cultural conversation, she is helping lead it, reshaping Hollywood into a space where artistry and advocacy are inseparable. Zendaya's relationship with fashion is not merely one of adornment, but of purpose and reinvention. She has elevated the red carpet into a stage for social dialogue, where each look is meticulously crafted not just for visual impact, but for narrative power. Whether paying homage to African American legends through vintage silhouettes or donning futuristic designs that challenge gender norms, her fashion choices speak louder than most acceptance speeches. Her 2021 BET Awards tribute to Beyoncé in a recreated Versace dress originally worn by Queen Bey in 2003 wasn't just a style moment. It was a statement of lineage, respect, and Black excellence. Time and again, Zendaya proves that fashion. can be a form of resistance and celebration, often in the same breath. She has become a muse for designers not just because she wears their clothes impeccably, but because she elevates them, infusing their artistry with modern relevance and deeper meaning. Her fearlessness in blending high fashion with social awareness has made her one of the most significant figures in the industry, a trendsetter whose influence goes far beyond the fabric. Her command over social media is equally revolutionary. In an era when overexposure is often confused with influence, Zendaya has perfected the art of minimalism in the digital age, letting silence and intention be her most powerful tools. Unlike many celebrities who are constantly online updating fans with every detail of their lives, Zendaya opts for a measured presence. She appears when she has something to say, not when the algorithm demands attention. Her content, whether it's a reflective message about self-worth, a call to action around social justice, or a heartfelt birthday wish to a fellow actor, carries depth and deliberateness. It is this restraint that has helped cultivate a fan base that values substance, nuance, and emotional intelligence. Her followers are not simply spectators, but participants in a shared cultural evolution, responding to her messages with activism, dialogue, and creative expression of their own. Her influence online feels less like performance and more like communion, a rare achievement in the age of curated feeds and clickbait trends. The true strength of the Zendaya effect lies in how seamlessly she bridges entertainment, activism, and leadership. She's not a celebrity who dabbles in causes, but one who integrates them into every facet of her public life. As a black woman in an industry that has long resisted diversity behind the scenes, she knows the stakes of representation. She has spoken candidly about the limitations and pressures she faced as a young performer in predominantly white spaces, and how those experiences shaped her resolve to open doors for others. What makes her transformative is not just her ability to succeed in spite of these challenges, but how she turns that success into a platform for wider change. She sits at tables of power not to assimilate, but to disrupt and rebuild, from advocating for more inclusive casting in major film franchises to ensuring that hair and makeup teams are equipped to work with all skin tones and textures. Zendaya is influencing systemic change in ways that are both visible and structural. Her presence commands attention, but her voice demands progress. She has become the embodiment of a new generation of leaders, unapologetically multifaceted, purpose-driven, and profoundly impactful. In 2025, Zendaya's activism is not simply a chapter of her public persona, it is the foundation upon which much of her influence is built. Her commitment to driving social change has only intensified, evolving in both scale and sophistication. She doesn't just post about climate change on social media, she partners with scientists, environmental justice organizations, and sustainable fashion innovators to spotlight the intersection of climate and equity. Her support for green initiatives is hands-on, participating in clean energy campaigns, investing in eco-conscious startups, and funding reforestation efforts in areas most affected by industrial pollution. Similarly, her advocacy for racial justice goes beyond symbolic gestures. She actively contributes to legal defense funds, participates in policy discussions, and works behind the scenes with lawmakers and organizers to amplify reform efforts. Zendaya has also emerged as a leading voice in mental health advocacy, using her platform to destigmatize mental illness, particularly among youth and communities of color. Her partnerships with mental health nonprofits provide resources to schools, create safe spaces for dialogue, and promote healing through the arts. Her philanthropic work is deliberately understated, often conducted quietly and without fanfare. She doesn't need cameras to validate her compassion. Her focus remains on impact over image. Whether funding after-school programs in marginalized neighborhoods or supporting survivors of domestic violence, Zendaya's charitable investments reflect a thoughtful, long-term approach. She consults directly with community leaders and nonprofit professionals to ensure her support is not just performative but tailored to actual needs. Her discretion in giving has made her a trusted figure within humanitarian circles, admired not just for her donations but for her deep listening and humility. In her personal life, Zendaya continues to set a precedent that balances public engagement with fierce protection of her private world. This delicate equilibrium offers a roadmap for how celebrities can remain visible without becoming consumed. Her refusal to share every intimate detail is not an act of withholding, but a boundary that demands mutual respect. When she does open up, it is meaningful and intentional, allowing her audience a glimpse of her humanity without turning her life into a spectacle. This conscious distancing from the cult of overexposure has not diminished her influence. It has enhanced it. She proves that a person's worth is not measured by their availability, but by the integrity of their choices. Her work with young people remains one of the most heartfelt aspects of her advocacy. Zendaya continues to fund scholarships through partnerships with universities and foundations, targeting students who have the drive but lack the financial means. Her involvement in arts education is equally robust. She supports theater programs, sponsors youth film festivals, and provides grants for aspiring creatives from underrepresented backgrounds. Her visits to schools and community centers are often unannounced and deeply personal, sitting with students in classrooms, answering questions and sharing her own journey with vulnerability and encouragement. These interactions are not about building her brand, they are about nurturing the next generation of thinkers, leaders, and creators. For Zendaya, success is not about maintaining status, it is about lifting others with her. She has redefined what it means to be a public figure, grounding her stardom in service, sincerity, and purpose. Zendaya's redefinition of stardom is not just a shift in celebrity behavior, it's a cultural transformation that mirrors broader societal changes. In an age when audiences crave authenticity, transparency, and accountability, Zendaya has become the archetype of a modern icon. She doesn't cloak herself in an unreachable mystique. Instead, she bridges the gap between public figure and real person with remarkable grace. Her ability to be vulnerable, to admit when she's still learning, has revolutionized the way fans and the media engage with celebrities. It's no longer about projecting a polished image, but about living with purpose in real time. This openness fosters deeper, more genuine connections and makes her success feel communal rather than distant. Those who work with Zendaya often remark not only on her immense talent, but also on her attentiveness and collaborative energy. She's deeply involved in every aspect of her projects, from the earliest creative meetings to post-production decisions. On set, she is known to uplift crew members, foster an atmosphere of mutual respect, and bring an infectious sense of dedication. Her humility is not performative. It's practiced daily in how she treats people, how she prepares, and how she holds space for others' voices. That rare blend of star power and sincerity makes her an invaluable asset in a creative industry that increasingly values emotional intelligence as much as technical skill. Her leap into directing marks the next phase of her artistic evolution. Unlike many celebrity-turned-directors who rely on their fame to carry projects, Zendaya approaches the craft with humility and hunger to learn. She is studying the work of trailblazing filmmakers, assembling diverse production teams, and seeking out stories that challenge societal norms. Her directorial debut is expected to center around themes of generational trauma and the resilience of women, topics she's passionate about exploring through a deeply personal and cinematic lens. This new chapter isn't just about career expansion, it's a declaration of intent. Zendaya is building an ecosystem where art, activism, and accessibility coexist, and where those traditionally left out of the spotlight are now centered. Her trajectory suggests a future where stardom isn't a pedestal but a platform, a place from which to elevate voices, transform narratives, and redefine what it means to lead. Zendaya's first major directorial project, currently in early development, is shaping up to be as daring and emotionally resonant as the roles that have defined her acting career. Tapping into the generational dialogue she often explores in her public speaking, the film is said to revolve around three women from the same family, grandmother, mother, and daughter, each navigating different eras of cultural expectations, systemic adversity, and personal reinvention. Set in a vibrant, historically rich neighborhood undergoing gentrification, the story weaves together past and present, showing how inherited trauma and resilience shape identity across time. Zendaya's intent is to explore how strength is passed down through seemingly quiet acts, sacrifice, storytelling, forgiveness, and how often the most powerful revolutions happen inside the home. Stylistically, she is expected to draw from visual storytelling traditions that blend realism with poetic symbolism, likely taking cues from directors like Barry Jenkins and Ava DuVernay. She's collaborating with a diverse team of screenwriters, cinematographers, and composers to ensure the authenticity of every frame, from the music that underscores each generation's struggle to the production design that echoes shifts in time and culture. Zendaya is not interested in glamorizing pain. Rather, she aims to honor survival, to celebrate joy in unlikely places, and to capture the nuances of Black womanhood through a lens rarely seen in mainstream cinema. What makes this directorial debut particularly anticipated is Zendaya's promise to cast mostly unknown or emerging talent in lead roles, ensuring fresh voices are given space to shine. She's using her clout not just to tell a story, but to fundamentally change the pipeline through which stories are made. The film isn't just a creative endeavor, it's a statement of purpose, a declaration that power in Hollywood can be used not only to entertain, but to enlighten, empower, and expand the canon of who gets to be seen and heard. Zendaya's global resonance in 2025 stands as a testament to her rare ability to transcend traditional celebrity categories. She is no longer simply an American star, she is a cultural figure of international magnitude. Across continents, her influence is felt not just through film and fashion, but through her voice on social, environmental, and humanitarian issues that touch lives in profoundly universal ways. Her appeal stems not from a curated global image, but from a genuine effort to engage with the world beyond her own borders. She has traveled not as a figurehead, but as a listener and learner, whether speaking at youth-led conferences in Europe, supporting female-led tech initiatives in Africa, or spotlighting refugee education programs in the Middle East. She uses her platform not as a pedestal, but as a bridge. Her interviews abroad are never formulaic. They are thoughtful, respectful, and often conducted in collaboration with local voices. That willingness to step into unfamiliar spaces with humility has earned her credibility and admiration far beyond. The entertainment sphere, international media outlets, and cultural institutions now view Zendaya as an influential emissary for soft power. When she walks the red carpet at the Venice Film Festival or appears at the Cannes Film Market, it's not just as a film star. It's as a voice that symbolizes a new era of cross-cultural engagement. She often speaks of the role of art in diplomacy, in education, and in healing collective trauma, positioning herself not only as a participant in global conversations, but as someone helping shape them. This sense of purpose infuses everything she does. At the Berlin Human Rights Summit in early 2025, she delivered a keynote that wove personal narrative with global policy concerns, citing how storytelling can shift perceptions, de-escalate tensions, and empower communities that have long been silenced. She referenced the women who inspired her, activists, educators, artists, and stressed the importance of creative voices in reshaping public discourse. It was a moment that confirmed what many already believed: Zendaya is not just performing in history, she is helping to write it. Her relationships with fans across cultures further emphasize this global dimension, whether it's a young woman in São Paulo drawing strength from Zendaya's transparency about anxiety, or a student in Seoul inspired by her commitment to education equity. Her impact is deeply personal and far-reaching. Unlike many public figures who rely on polished messaging teams, Zendaya's communications, though infrequent, feel direct, grounded, and intimate. Her social media activity is often translated and circulated on fan pages in dozens of languages, serving as both inspiration and a call to action. Fans form communities around her ideals, not just her image, uniting across geographies to promote values like kindness, accountability, and growth. These aren't passive fan bases, they are active, engaged, and mobilized. Zendaya has, in essence, created a global tribe bonded by mutual respect and a shared aspiration for a better world. In Hollywood, her ascension has already altered the very nature of stardom. She has redefined success not as the accumulation of accolades or box office numbers, but as the ability to move culture forward. When projects featuring Zendaya are greenlit, they come with an expectation of depth, thoughtfulness, and relevance. Studios know that attaching her name means attaching a sense of purpose. It demands that the work stand for something greater. That influence has extended to how deals are structured, how narratives are framed, and who gets invited into the room. Young creatives of color, queer filmmakers, and underrepresented writers increasingly cite Zendaya as the reason they felt seen, validated, and encouraged to pursue their dreams. Her career choices, from starring roles to behind-the-scenes production work, signal that one can be a powerhouse without compromising one's values. Her refusal to be boxed in by genre, identity, or expectation has expanded the industry's understanding of what a leading figure can and should be. In this climate of rapid cultural shifts, the so-called Zendaya effect has matured into something more potent than a trend. It has become an ethos. Her presence demands intention. Her voice commands attention. Her actions invite emulation. She has helped usher in an era where it is no longer acceptable for public figures to remain silent on issues that affect the lives of millions. Instead, she models how to lead with integrity, to advocate without arrogance, and to influence with humility. Zendaya's influence is not just emotional or aesthetic, it is structural. The people she mentors, the causes she funds, and the projects she shapes all point to a long-term vision that goes beyond her own career. Ultimately, Zendaya's legacy is being built in real time. In 2025, she stands as a beacon of what the future can be when talent, integrity, and purpose align. She is a creator of art, yes, but also of space, opportunity, and hope. Her legacy will not be defined solely by awards or roles, but by the lives she touches, the barriers she dismantles, and the blueprint she leaves behind. She is not just leading a generation, she is preparing it to lead itself. And in doing so, Zendaya has secured her place not only in entertainment history, but in the broader narrative of cultural transformation.